one and all, and welcome to another episode of Bagger Chat. My name is Mitch Pattinson, and as always, we're joined by Ethan Daffy. And today we are previewing the Carlton v Richmond clash, round one, Thursday, 14th of March, 7:30 p.m. at the MCG. We move on very quickly because we did our review on Saturday morning, and now it's Monday morning at 9:30, and we're going to release this tonight at 6 p.m. But as good teams do, we always move on quickly, especially after a great win against the Brisbane Lions up at the Gabba. But first things first, Duffy boy, how are you?
Good, mate. Obviously, we were, the great win on the weekend was massive for our group and our football club, and now it's kind of been not, soured a bit, but there's been a bit of negative news recently that we'll touch on in a second with Sam Docherty, which is just such a shame for him personally. I think we can, we know we can cover it. We've got the talent to cover it. It's more about him personally for me, that he's been through so much stuff, and it's just quite unbelievable that he has to go through another knee surgery. And hopefully that wasn't his last game in navy blue, but it seriously could be, and who knows? I don't want to be making conclusions, so we'll have to wait and see on that one, Patto. But yeah, all in all, pretty good at the moment, mate.
Yeah, really well said, actually. But I mean, yeah, I think we just have to move straight into the negatives and try and just get the negatives out of the way. But we need to try and spend some time on this because we know how much of a warrior and a soldier he's been for the Carlton Football Club and also AFL in general, as a role model, because kind of showcasing what he's done, what he's been able to go through with cancer and obviously 3 ACLs. I mean, this is obviously his third one, so being able to use him as a role model to never give up in a sense. And I mean, Carlton did on like against the Brisbane Lions. And I know if that was kind of more like kind of playing for Docherty, knowing that slightly, because it first came out that it was a jarred knee. So I was initially like, okay, that's fine. It's going to be 1 to 2 weeks. And then how the changes, like how it changes out of nowhere. And then now it's turned out to be an ACL and it's confirmed. And it's actually, I'm still kind of coming to terms with it because I still can't believe it, because he's a guy that he's such a good guy. He's been so loyal to his club. He's gone through all the shit of the Navy Blues, and now when we're starting to get to a decent side, he just should be there, and he's not going to be. Which is just like you can probably hear in my voice that I'm quite emotional about it because he's a guy that has given so much to AFL football in general. But Daffy boy, what's your thoughts, like initially on Sam Docherty and the 30 ACL, and also it does open up new opportunities for players on the list.
Yeah, it is a shame for him. We had a podcast with Dan Gorringe a week or two ago, which was a really good podcast. If anyone hasn't listened to that, I definitely recommend it. It really tells the story of him from a child to now, and he's actually got a lot of other stuff that's going on in his life that hasn't been in the public eye. Which we know all the ACLs and what he's been through with cancer, but he's had other issues where like a week after he joined Carlton, and he's been he was a Carlton supporter his whole life. His father unfortunately passed. So he never got to see his son play in the navy blue. He knew that he joined Carlton, thank God. But yeah, I think he was on a training camp and he got a tap on the shoulder. He was at a training camp. He barely knew any of his teammates. It was in Arizona, and he got a tap on the shoulder from one of the Carlton staff saying, you got a phone call, and his brother told him that unfortunately his father had passed. And that's just it's just unbelievable how life works for certain people, isn't it? It's so unlucky and unfortunate, and it happens to the best sometimes, and happens to the best, like Sam Docherty. And I seriously wish him all the best in his recovery, and I hope mentally he's going okay. That's first and foremost. And he knows, he's got his playing group rallying around him, the staff, and obviously the Carlton community, me, you, Patto, and all the supporters. So hope he's all right. And on the last point, of course, it opens up massive opportunities for one guy in particular is Jack Carroll. And on the weekend, he comes out in the second half and really changes the dynamic of our midfield. So not only him, there'll be other guys going through there. But yeah, I think we can cover it. It's not like we can't. We've got the talent, thank God. Now it's not like it's 2019 or 2018 where we don't have the talent to be able to cover it. But yeah, wish him all the best, and yeah, hopefully he gets back on the field next year, and which is it's just sad to say, we've got him and Silvani out for the season. So hopefully, touch wood, no more ACLs and long-term injuries, because it's kind of getting sick of it at the moment.
Yeah, it's really well said because there has been so many ACL. I mean, for the past 10, I mean, pretty much in the history of the AFL, of course, ACL is probably the most common AFL injury, but this many in one preseason,
Yeah,
in one round, like I
mm,
reckon I can name, yeah, at least five or six
yeah,
off the top of my head that has done ACL, like not an injury, an ACL in this
mm,
off season, and also two in one game. Kitty Coleman
yep,
and Sam Docherty in one game. Like
yep,
it's yeah, I don't know if there needs to be more research because I've spent so much time with the concussion, which I absolutely love because the concussion is obviously a very serious matter because it can really change someone's life in the later stages of their life. But I think also in terms of an AFL career, you're missing a full year. I think there needs to be more research in this
mm,
space because like, I mean, I haven't done an ACL, but I know that I've been around a lot of close mates and close people that have
yep,
done ACLs, and the amount of I guess not depression, but it's more like football is with a lot of people is their savior, and they can't go out and do
yep,
it, and especially for a
yep,
professional footballer when their
mm,
job is to do that. Like, yes, they get paid
yep,
and stuff, but at the end of the day, they all want to go out there and actually play football, and they're not able to
mm,
do that for a
yep,
year, like 12 months. It's pretty, I don't know. So I don't know if AFL over the next few years is going to look into more research with how we can potentially prevent it if there is a way to do that.
yep,
But yeah, it's just shocking. And then as you said, then I just think that for the guy like Sam Docherty, who's been such a good person his whole life, and
yep,
once again another negative has happened in his life, but also he's got so many great positives in his life. He's obviously got a new kid, like a young kid, and also I think he's just been married as well
yep,
to his long-term girlfriend. So, yeah, I mean, it's great. We absolutely love Sam Docherty. More, I mean, he's been such a loyal servant for so long, but we wish Doc all the best. But I think we're going to move on now to the potential inclusions. Hopefully, we can try and change the mood of the episode because we don't want to try and be negative because we need to try and move on because as great as Sam Docherty has been, we also just had a great win against the Brisbane Lions. So we have to just try and
yep.
move on to the Tiki Tigers on Thursday night. But potential inclusions, David Boy. So Jesse Motlop is a chance to come in. And also, does he come in? I'm not too sure if he is a chance to come in because I mean last week I think it worked quite well with the small forwards. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even we wait until the Good Friday clash against North, give him another week with a bye. I'm not sure, but also Jack Martin is still 1 to 2 weeks away, which I don't think he's any chance to play this
No,
week against the Tigers. But also we don't really know. And also Walsh, Witter, and Marchbank are still don't have a timeline on the injury list, but I think they'll be aiming for round 3 against North Melbourne. But all those, I guess there's 5 players there, Daffy Boy. Probably one player that is a realistic chance to play against the Tiggy Tigers this week. Are you bringing Jesse Motlop in?
yeah, it's a tough one because I thought our smalls stepped up massively in the second half, and for me, I don't know if he does. I
Mm,
don't know if he does. I think Orazio had a great performance.
yeah,
I think his performance is completely underrated, and underrated even by us in the review episode. I think, like in
yeah,
terms of because we had a lot of good performances in the second half. It's hard to go past some of those performances, Harry's, etc. But I thought Orazio was fantastic, and he set up a lot of goals. All he needs is 10 touches in a game, and he can impact. And his score involvements, I think he might have 4 or 5. So that was really good. So and Fogarty, in terms of small forwards, was played his role to a T. So he'll be staying in the side all year, I hope. Obviously, pending form. And then you got other guys like I think Owies probably wasn't superb, but I don't know if we drop him. I just don't know if we drop him, give him another game. He didn't play any preseason games. maybe give Mollop the extra week, like you said. So I think you almost give Mollop the extra week. But once again, Patto, I'm not going to be, afraid of picking him. Like if he's in the side, I'm happy either way. So it's one of those kind of, if he's not in, okay, give another few weeks, have the bye, and then the week for North, or bring him straight in. But if he's in, he'll make an impact for sure.
Mm. So, I mean, obviously we have to make at least one change because with Sam Docherty, and also
Yeah.
George Hewitt to touch on. So George Hewitt has, of course, gotten away with a fine, which is pleasing to see. So he is available to play against the Tigers round one. But obviously we have to make a change with Sam Docherty coming out of the side. Do
Yeah.
you bring Jesse Motlop in maybe as the sub? Or I think we probably both expect Jack Carroll to come into the best 22, but also the conversation with the sub. Who would you have as sub this week?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Well, not, obviously the case of the injury is not good, but in terms of giving guys opportunities who definitely deserve to break into the best 22, who, Carroll didn't play a senior game for a year, and that was 16 minutes. He had 16% game time against North last year, which was his last senior, on-field experience. So, yeah, I think Carroll comes in for me. I think he has to be in that midfield. He's a pure midfielder. Get him in there, against they've still got good mids, the Tigers. I think their mids are, solid, but I think he can really make another impact. He's a left foot. I really like that about him. He's got pace, and once again, he's got a bit of class, which that on the run goal shows. He's good behind the footy, but also attacking. So I think he comes in, and like you said, I think Modlop can be the sub. Maybe I think if he, instead of him coming in fully, we can kind of progress him through, and then if there's, whether it's an injury or someone's just really struggling in the game, or we need to change something up, I think he can come in and provide that energy. So yeah, I think that's a great idea, Pato.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a player that, like, he has been sub before, I believe.
Yeah,
But yeah, like as you said, I think it's the main objective is to try and just get him a bit of match fitness. But even if Matt always once again isn't playing too well by
yeah,
half time, and he's probably produced the same performance as he did against Brisbane Lions, I think that's when you make the change, bring Motlop on, and add a bit of fresh light about the side. And I think it's good because he's also he's obviously very quick, so you can put him up the field as well, and in the final stages, if it is close, you can put
yeah.
him in and really provide that pace. But we're going to move on now straight away to the opposition watch. Now we're going to choose one player from the back line, one player from the midfield, one player from the forward line. Obviously for the opposition. So Daffy boy, first things first, your backline opposition watch.
Yeah, it's I'm looking at their back six from the weekend. I'd imagine they wouldn't make many changes to that back six. Maybe unless they keep Bolter up forward. I'd imagine he's been training as a forward, so I don't think they're just going to randomly change it after one game. But hopefully they stick to that Bolter up forward. But in defence, I think for me, watching that game on the weekend, I thought their best defender was actually Nick Vlauston. He took many intercept marks, and it was really clear without looking at the stats. He was the one guy kind of not keeping him in the game, but he took 9 marks. He took 9 marks, had 20 touches. He's that guy he's that medium kind of defender, but he can take grabs and really impact going forward of the ball. So I think he's one to watch in terms of what we do with him and how we can minimise his impact in the air, because I think he's similar to a Kitty Coleman. Obviously, shout out to Kitty that he's done his ACL as well, which is unfortunate news, but a very similar type of impact with ball in hand, and can really take on risks and get goals for the Tigers from the back half. So we just can't let him loose. You know what I mean? We can't, in past Carlton, we always let these halfbacks, what's the one from St Kilda? He's blown by me with the Sinclair with the mullet.
Sinclair, yeah.
Had about 78 touches against us and won him the game. Ultimately, we had more inside 50s in them, but he was getting the rebound D50s. So for me, Nick Vlauston's their key.
Yeah. So I've gone with the other halfback flank. Actually, they have now 3 genuine. So obviously it's Vlauston, Daniel Rioli, but I'm going with this guy, and his name's Jaden Short, and he is a guy that I think is going to have a really big season in season 2024. Last game against the Suns, he had 23 disposals, 20 kicks, 20 kicks. 3 handballs, 7 marks, 4 tackles, and his disposal efficiency, 96%. And he kicked the ball 20 times. So it obviously shows when he has the ball in his hands, he's hitting targets. So that's my worry. I rate Jaden Short very highly. There's something about him that I really like. If I was a Richmond supporter, I'm glad that he moved back into the halfback flank because I think they look a lot more structured back there, and they have Voston, Rioli, and Short back there, like obviously alongside with Grimes. I think it's going to be a watch for mine, and I really hope it doesn't come like I really hope that it doesn't that there isn't a dominant performance from Short's end, because I seriously think he's a very highly talented footballer. Not sure what it is, but I'm not speaking too well. So sorry to all the viewers out there. But we got to move on now to the midfield opposition watch. Now we have mentioned a few names already about Tim Taranto. Maybe that might be the opposition watch. But Daffy Boy, who is your opposition watch for the Richmond Tigers in the midfield?
Yeah, I'm looking at their midfield now, and they really struggled on the weekend. They really, really, really did. I don't expect them to be that down in form on Thursday night because they weren't an AFL level standard midfield on the weekend. That was just disgraceful. Like it was clearance after clearance. They couldn't stop it. And they only end up losing by 40 points. So that I think that's where they lost the game ultimately, in the middle of the park and stoppages. Like once again, Matt Rowell with 20 clearances is just unbelievable by his, for him, but also that shows you what Richmond were doing at the stoppage. And for me, I look at their midfield and it's probably the guy who's, I don't know, he's probably, I don't know, it's hard. It's really hard to look at their midfield. Obviously they've got, Hoppers and Tarantos and, I think one guy who can hurt us if he's on, is Prestia, in my opinion. I think he's the one that can hurt us. I know it's, he's probably at the latter part of his career. But yeah, I just don't really look at their midfield and go, wow, you know what I mean? I just don't go, whoa, anymore. Obviously, they're going to have Dusty through there. It looks like they're going to have Dusty through there. So he's probably the guy I'm going to be talking about in the midfield if he's selected, which I think he will be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to really put a finger on it, Patto, for one guy. But I'll just say probably Prestia and partly Martin. I know that's cheating, saying 2 guys, but I think those 2 are the guys that can really impact the scoreboard as well, and they're good at the stoppage.
I am going with Dustin Martin for the opposition watch. I think he's even if he has a week off, I am still very worried, and it's PTSD of the last few clashes against the Tigers, and obviously he's dominated against us round 1. And once again, of course, they keep him. He probably could have played against the Gold Coast Suns, but of course they probably keep him fit to make sure that he absolutely dominates against the Carlton Blues. But I think Dusty Martin's a big threat, and towards the end of last year, he was playing a lot more midfield. So he was getting a lot of midfield time. He was probably playing 70 to 30, even 80 to 20 in the favour of midfield. So I think it's a big threat. And as you said, I think when Dusty's on, there's not many people that can stop him in the AFL. But we're now going to move on to the forward line, our last line before we move on to our match predictions. Daffy Boy. As you said about the midfield, there's probably not a lot of appealing names in the midfield, but there's not too many appealing names in the forward line. Who have you got? But now I don't want that to come back to bite me in the bum. In your forward line opposition watch, who have you got?
Yeah, it is funny on the Tigers, just before I get onto the forwards. It is funny about the Tigers. I can't really put a finger. Like, I think their mids are good. I think they've got some good mids, but based on the weekend, I'm really confused at where their midfield is. So we're not trying to, have a go at the Tigers. We're just actually a little bit confused on to where they are at the moment. There are a lot of more questions than answers at the moment for the Tigers. But up forward, he's the one guy I worry about when we play him now, especially the last couple of years. And it's Shai Bolton. He is the guy for them. He's the guy for them that can break open a game. And I know the one guy that's going to pick him up, and it's going to be Adam Sard, and he's going to stick with him all day like a rash all over his body. He's going to be all over him. He's going to be a tough guy to stop. He's got that breakneck speed. He's got that finishing touch. He's probably almost their best player. Probably behind Dusty, in my opinion, in terms of impact on a game. Him, Taranto, and Dusty are probably up there for the best players at the Tigers. But yeah, Bolton's the one that I get a little bit worried about. He sits on blokes' heads. He's quick. He finishes. He's fit. His total game's improved the last few years. I think, in my opinion, I think he was a little bit erratic at the start of his career, and he's kind of not settled down. But he's brought it down a little bit and worked on the other part of his game, and he can go through the middle as well. So that's another name that can go through the middle and have a real impact. But yeah, for me, Bolton's the one to watch for them up forward.
It's a really good point about Shy Bolton, because I think from his best to his worst, that's narrowed a little bit, and he's now gotten a little bit consistent. Like, I think he doesn't play the games that, I think it was probably 2020 or 2021 when he dominated against Essendon, when he played. And I'm like, wow. But I don't like. I think he can still reach that level, but
for sure.
The next week he would come out and produce 3 or 4. So I think he's been able to kind of narrow. Like, he's probably dropped his best level a little bit to make sure that that his worst level can rise a little bit, and he's stayed a little bit more consistent. So I think he's a little bit confused in terms of in the midfield and in the forward. Like, I don't really know what their plans are with Shy Bolton and with Dusty Martin coming back. I'd probably
switch.
Yeah. But I don't know if that means that Bolton is going to play more forward, because let's be real, he played a lot of forward, like he played a lot of forward minutes on the weekend. So with Dusty Martin coming back in, I don't think that's going to help him in terms of playing the midfield. But I don't know. I think Shy Bolton is a very, very strong talent for the Tigers, and I really think that if we can't put a leash on him, he's going to be very, very dangerous. But I'm going with another name. Now, it's another inclusion to the Richmond Tigers. It is the big key forward down there. Let's hope he is. Well, let's hope that he's not playing, because we all know how great of a player he is. But for Richmond Tigers' sake, let's hope he does play, because I think he is a serious talent, and it's Tom Lynch down in the forward line. And I would expect Lewis Young to go straight to Tom Lynch. And if he does, I really hope he does produce the same game that he did last year against Lynch. But yeah, it's a worry, because as we mentioned before the start of the episode, he always finds a way to get himself fit for the clash against the Blues. But Daffy boy, before we move on to our last segment, I've got one more question for you. In terms of the whole Richmond lineup, whether it's the back line, forward, midfield, there's one name that really pops in my mind that can really change a game from a Richmond point of view. In your head right now, I know that is like a bit off the run sheet, but if there is one player that you could name right now that can take the game away from the Carlton Football Club, who would it be?
I think it has to be. I think you can't go away from Bolton. I don't think you can go away from him. I think Dusty's probably another name, but other than that, I don't think. Obviously, they got a few guys in there, but I think those two are the key ones that can really break open a game early as well. It might be the start of a second quarter, and they both turn it on for the first 10 minutes, and they get out a lead or whatever. Yeah, I think Bolton for me. I just think he's once again his pace and his finishing is just clinical, and he's more consistent. I think he played all right on the weekend. So yeah, Bolton for me, mate.
Yeah, completely agree. Okay, so now we will move on to the highly anticipated, let's say reliable match predictions. If you were to put on a bit of a, gamble responsibly as always, but if you were to put on a bit of a gamble this week against the Tigers, make sure to listen, especially to my predictions, because I'm the type of person that will probably put Dom McHugh for bagger of the game, and he's not even going to play. So, Taffy boy, your match predictions. I need your bagger of the game, point of difference, and winner plus margin. Who have you got against the Tiggy Tigers?
Yeah, it's, I think it's good that we kind of pop it in our head. I put the team list up from the weekend, and I just look at names, and one pops out to me. I usually pick it, and it's not going to be a very original type of out of the box bagger of the game, because I just think this guy is going to have the career best season. Harry Mackay's going to be the bagger of the game again, isn't he? Yeah. He is. He is. I was trying to make a case for other people. I hope there is other people standing up. But Jesus, man, like he's form in the preseason. He translates it against, Brisbane and Brisbane, kicks the winning goal. Like it's all you couldn't write a script better, Patto. And I think he's going
Mm,
to turn it on again. I think his form just shows it. I don't think just from the weekend, it wasn't a one-off game. He was our best on in the preseason games. Let's be real. And he was the best on again and he translated it. That shows you how good of a footballer he is. And I think he will be the bagger of the game, Harry, and he will kick 5 snags. It doesn't even need to kick 5 to be the best on. I think he can kick 2 or 3 and have an impact around the ground, and I'm happy with that, to be honest
mm.
with you, with Harry. So I think he'll be the bagger of the game. Point of difference, I thought he was superb on the weekend. And it's going to be Jordan Boyd. I thought he was superb on the weekend. No one knows him, right? Like from other teams. They just don't know him. Like if
Mm.
you said, do you know this bloke? And you showed a photo to someone and they'd have no idea. They'd have no idea. And I love that about him because he's probably the best kicker in the team, arguably one of the best kicks in the team. Doesn't miss targets. His defense is good. He flies high. He's got pace. He's got a bit of, he's tough. And yeah, I think he's going to be the point of difference for me. And winner plus margin, it's always a highly anticipated kind of bit of the match predictions on both of our sides. But I think it's going to be a Carlton win, which is not surprising on our predictions. I don't think we've ever not tipped us. And I think I've got us by 29 points. I think, once again, not trying to jinx, I don't think it'll be an easy game, but I think we'll have a comfortable 29-point win. I think we'll, go out to an early lead and hold on to that lead. Not hold on, but keep that consistent lead for throughout the game and kind of finish them in the last with a little flurry at the end.
Yeah. I like the predictions as I always do, Daffy boy, but I am a little bit different. There's a lot of people that say that I am a little bit of a different person, and I will stand by that really, actually. So, bag of the game, I am going with the skipper, Paddy Cripps,
Yep.
to dominate in the middle. I know that's a bit of a predictable, predictable prediction, but you know what? I think he's just still underrated for mine.
Yeah. He was great on the weekend.
He was so good. He could
get the 3. I wouldn't even be surprised if he got 3 votes.
Yeah, completely agree.
28 touches. Like, I'm not trying to butt into the predictions, but I think he, like you said, the underrated call is superb. I think he is. He could win the Brownlow.
100%.
He could win the Brownlow.
Yep.
I'm not trying to, we're laughing about it, but this is no Walsh currently. He's probably our best midfielder still. He showed on the weekend with 28 and a goal. That's often Brownlow type votes, areas.
Yeah.
They won't give Harry the 3. I just know that for some reason they won't. So who's getting the 3 will be him. So on to your predictions, but I agree that bag of the game prediction is spot on.
Yeah. Now, I don't really know what you're ready, Daffy boy. I think you might need your eyes checked, but Paddy Cripps,
here we go. Jesus.
23 touches, 1 goal of the week. Is that wrong? Is that I don't know if I might need my eyes checked, mate. I mean, more than likely, my eyes are a lot worse than yours, mate. But 23 touches, is that right? Yeah.
I just checked 23.
Okay.
My mistake.
23 touches on the weekend, 1 goal. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 28 or 23. He still played a really good game, and I completely agree. I think he's going to be a player where Walshy at the start of the year, we probably would have predicted him to maybe win the Brownlow, but I mean, especially be up there for our best midfielder. But I think Cripps is well and truly still one of our best midfielders in the club, and I mean, he's a captain as well. So he obviously will get a little bit of he will be protected a little bit in terms of the whole year because he's the fucking captain. So 23 touches, 1 goal, 15 handballs, 3 marks, 2 tackles. I think he really played a great game last week. So yeah, I think he's going to be the bag of the game for mine. Point of difference. Now, as you said, we kind of go through the list and kind of see a player that pops up in our mind. Now he's got a good first name, Mitch McGovern.
Oh, yes. I love it.
Point of difference. Mitch McGovern off the out.
Love it. He was superb on the weekend. Again.
So good. So good. He's once again, he's exactly like Paddy Cripps, where it wasn't really spoken about enough last week in the review, but he was so good off that halfback flank. Like, his speed is underrated. He's probably one of the quickest players in the club, and no one talks about speed. his size is probably once in a lifetime in terms of his agility, all of his strengths when he goes out to play football is like not a lot of people can do that at that size.
No.
So he's so important to us, and I'm so glad that we made the transition. I think it was 2022 when we made the transition of him going back. So that's great. So I'm really pleased, and he's going to be the point of difference. Now, winner plus margin. You went 29 points.
Yes.
Now, tell me if this is a little bit outlandish.
Shit.
59-point win to the Carlton football. 59-point win.
It's not, it's, where, once again, I'll put it out to the viewers. If there's Richmond supporters watching, we're not here to say it's going to be an easy game. We just back these boys in, and what they've shown on the weekend, what your club showed on the weekend, that's how we get our prediction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that. It seriously could. It's not out of the question, really. But 59 that would be superb, really.
Well, you say there where it's like we aren't really trying to bat, but I am actually bagging the Richmond club, the Richmond Football Club. I don't think they're that great. I really don't. And we were there a couple of years ago, so now I can feel like that Carlton are there, Richmond are not. They've got a brand new coach, and I'm not trying to shit on the Tigers, but I kind of am a little bit as well. Because you kind of look at the midfield and there's no star power there. Like, of course, you're missing Dustin Martin, so he's going to come back in, and maybe that's going to change dramatically, and that's why my predictions is a little bit outlandish. But I'm more saying it in terms of I trust our club. One, we're playing at the MCG in front of potentially 75 to 80,000 at the MCG.
I'm calling 95. It's going to be 95.
Yeah.
It will be 95. It will be 95.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it will be 80. I don't know.
There will be people throwing cash at this game in terms of they weren't there. Whoever wasn't there in Brisbane, whoever was there in Brisbane, I'll be there at bloody 4 p.m. when the gates open. I'll be that excited.
It's just
90. I'll say 90.
Yeah, 90.
I guess. I think it'll be really high. It's our home game.
Yeah.
Looking the good. Richmond under the pump. They won't be there. There'll be 2,000 of them. They'll be back in their hole. Their little hidey hole they were in for about 22 decades until they started winning games. So 90,000 baggers.
I think like it's quite tough because it's a Thursday night game. So I mean, it was a Saturday night, 100%. But I mean, I'm predicting 77,000.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I'll go 85. Actually.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high.
Yeah, it will be high, and but I mean, let's hope some Richmond supporters can come, because when it's like 58 points at quarter time, we can say nah. But I really hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the bum. I really hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the bum. But no, I mean, it's the banter rivalry. It's pretty much the four clubs: Carlton, Richmond, Collingwood, Essendon. They're the four clubs where we can always have banter, and it's not it's not personal. It's just banter. Like, I mean, my really good mate Nick Collins, who is a diehard Richmond supporter, I will text him after this game and be like, make sure to watch Baggers Chat tonight, 6 p.m, because I've got a bet for you, mate. But no, I mean, it's exciting, and this is why we love football, because it's rivalries like this where we've had to put up with Richmond supporters the past 10 years saying how shit we are, and now we can finally give it back, and we can give them a big smacking. So I'm going to be really excited. But Dave Boyd, before we wrap up the episode, is there anything else you would like to touch on before the game this week?
Yeah, it's a very different feel for Carlton Richmond. I feel like it's going to be big anticipation, but I think on our end, we're just really keen to see these boys go at it at home, and it's our home game, so there'll be majority Carlton supporters. I think it would be interesting to see how many Tigers supporters are. Like that game of the weekend, they would be worried. I'm not trying to jinx. I know there'll be a Richmond supporter that'll clip these clips of us saying all this stuff and have that as their receipts, and good on you. Seriously, good on you if you win the game, whatever. But I think it's like you said, I think it's our time to put the foot down, and geez, it'd be nice. It'd just be nice to just have an easy game. Don't have to have a heart attack in the last minute of the game. Just relax, get a good result, and then get into the bye feeling really, really good about ourselves, and hopefully get some bodies back for the North Melbourne game.
Yeah, really well said. Yeah, so of course after this game, as you just said, we of course have to bye, and then it's round 3, Good Friday against the
Yep.
North Melbourne Football Club. And I think
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few players that, I mean, Jesse Motlop's probably the one player that is a chance,
Yep.
but
Martin
as well. I
Yeah,
think Martin's probably a little bit more like, I think he's been ruled out. I don't think he will play, like he might play as well. But I think Jesse Motlop, kind of think about it being like, is it really important that he does play? Because I think the forward line
true.
did quite well. So maybe you have maybe even an Ashton Moyer to debut as a sub. I'm not a massive fan of that, but I'm not too sure what you want to do. I'm not too sure if Jesse Motlop even just plays as the sub, and he doesn't have to play. He doesn't have to play the whole game. Maybe bring him on maybe 20 minutes to go in the last quarter. So, no, mate, it's an absolute pleasure being back. I mean, we're a few episodes into the season now, and it's already starting to feel like football is well and truly back. So it's an absolute pleasure. But also make sure to every single viewer out there, the episode comes out tonight at 6 p.m. But if you haven't already watched it, Daffy Boy did a really good vlog up at the Gabba, and you need to make sure you get around it because it's something that I think we're going to try and transition, because last year we did it where we did the TikTok vlogs and that got great engagement, but I think we're going to try and transition it to now YouTube, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So make sure to give some love for that video. But to every single blue bagger out there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to every single platform you see us on, whether it's Spotify, whatever, YouTube, and also our socials. Make sure you get around it. But to you, Daffy Boy, and to every single blue bagger out there, up the baggers!
Up the baggers!